Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Untamed Minds. My name is Jessica, and I'm your host. If you've been here before, welcome back. If you're new here, hello. I'm so thankful to have all of you here with me today. I have a really special guest with me to talk about a really important topic that hits home for myself because I am a Hmong dancer. So, the topic today, we're going to talk a little bit more about the mental health aspect of being a Hmong dancer and how that can affect an individual's mental health in a positive and a negative way. So today I do have a really close friend of mine. Her name is Valentine, and she will come on here to talk a little bit more about her journey and share her own adventures. And so I hope that the listeners out there, if you're a Hmong dancer, I'm sure you can relate to a lot of the different things that we're going to talk about today. If you cannot relate, that's totally fine. Maybe the mental health aspect of it is something that you can relate to. So, Valentine, if you can introduce yourself and give us a fun fact.
Hi, I'm Valentine, and I'm currently living in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Fun fact about me is that I am the coach of Gamunae.
I mean, that's a good fun fact, honestly, and I feel like a lot of people do know you, especially in the Hmong dance community, girl. So, thank you for sharing that. A little bit a backstory between Valentine and I. We used to dance together. We knew each other from Pinsuki back in 27. Was it 2017 to 2018, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So she and I we've known each other for 7 years now. So it's been a long time. It's so crazy now when we think about it. It's been 7 years. That's so crazy. Been
I
lawa.
know.
Yeah, been lawa. So that's how Valentine and I we knew each other when we danced Bopinsuki and also in Xiaohoxing, and then we both coached a show group called Go Chandu together. So we've collaborated in projects together, and we've been in each other's lives for a very long time. So I'm really grateful and happy that you're here to talk about this topic that I feel like it hits close to home to both of us. So before we dive into the topic and I ask you the questions, I do have an icebreaker question for us. So what is a dream of yours that you want to achieve? It could be like a short-term dream, a goal.
Okay. A dream that I want to achieve is I just want to live my life to the fullest. I don't want to live with regrets. I think that's a dream.
I mean, that's a valid dream, girl. Damn. I was being really materialistic. I was gonna be like, a dream of mine is to have hella money.
Yeah, like
And
I mean, I was gonna say like I want to make like a lot of money, but then life happens. Sometimes things don't go your way, so just live your life
mhm,
to the fullest.
yeah, facts. For me, yeah, I was just make a lot of money, but like what you said, sometimes life happens. I mean, currently I'm broke as fuck right now, but apparently or eventually I do want to have my own family. So I would say that's a dream that I want to achieve is have my own family, even if that means with or without kids. Yeah, so that's mine. So thank you for answering that icebreaker question. So kind of diving into the topic, right? Hmong dancing and mental health.
hmm
I feel like not a lot of people talk about this part of Hmong dancing. So I'm really glad that you're able to come on here and share your own experiences. So take me to the beginning of your dance journey, right? So how did you first get involved with Hmong dancing and what does that mean to you personally?
Okay, so the first time I was involved in Hmong dance was when I was about 8 or 9 years old. At that time, my sister she was in a Hmong dance team with her friends, and they performed for like local events in school and stuff. And I got to follow her around a lot, and I remember one summer, she decided to teach me and my cousin like a dance for fun. And it was like so fun for me. And I think that was how I started liking Hmong dance. Yeah. And what Hmong dancing means to me personally, I think it's a way for me to like express my identity as being Hmong because like Hmong dancing ties like our culture, our language, history all together. So to me, it like stimulates like a creative side of
Mhm.
me.
Yeah, there's so much you can do with Hmong dancing, I feel like, you can teach someone a part of the culture that not a lot of people would know about, right? So there's like
Mhm.
storytelling, acting involved. I think all of that is part of like art. So I get what you mean. And thank you for sharing that story. It's so cute how like your sister was the one who got you into Hmong dancing. That's I
Yeah,
find
and
it
now she's like in her own world. She doesn't even dance anymore, so I don't know.
well, she's older too, so I get that, but man,
Oh
it's
my
just
gosh, I have to
yeah.
share this fun fact. My sister was in a dance team with Emily from one of our previous, well, not previous, but one of our dance mates from Philippines. So
What?
my sister and Emily's sister were in a dance team together. Yeah.
Wow. Wait, okay, this is when you already moved to Sheboygan, right?
This was like way back before I even moved out of Sheboygan.
What? Oh my
Yeah, so this was
goodness,
like
how did you
way
dance
back
it?
then.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
so
so
it
crazy.
goes way back.
Wow, that's such a small world. I did not even I
Yeah,
didn't even know that. That's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. So that's how Emily and I know each other from like a very long time, for like a very long time.
Okay, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I knew that you knew Emily for quite a while too, but okay, connecting the dots, I get
Yeah.
it. Wow, that's so funny, like, how it's so funny how sometimes life is like that, you know? Yeah, but thank you for sharing again. Personally, I guess my own experience, what got me into Hmong dancing, I mean, ever since I was a kid, my mom would put on her, like, Luya Chami songs, and I'll just, like, dance. But then competitively, I guess, like, I started dancing with a dance group back in, like, 2008. I was, I think, 5th grade. I was so young. It was with Moua, and, the style back then was a lot different from the style today,
Yeah.
but it was because one of Guido, like, Nalal was, like, looking for girls to dance. She had, like, 3 daughters who were dancing at that time, so my mom just decided to put me in because she realized that, like, how much I enjoy dancing. So that was a learning experience. Girl, I remember my first competition, 고대진로요. Really guessing do Montesa, like, would you like? Because I do not know, And, like yeah, so that was the first time, like, how I got involved into competitive Hmong dancing, was through that. I would say, like, my mom kinda made me into it, but it eventually grew on me. And what does it mean to me personally? I think it's a way to just take a break from life, It's a way to relieve my stress and just be around the people that I love or, like, the people that means a lot to me, like the sisterhood, because it's just me and my
Mhm.
sister, right? Just 2 of us, so call like, more sisters, like, I really want that.
Mhm.
So, by being in, like, this dance group, it allows me to create the bond that I've always wanted with several different sisters out there, so that's what I like the most about it.
Oh,
So
and that's how you met me.
so you're one of my sisters? Yeah, so and that's how I met you and the other girls, and, eventually we all became close, so thank you to Mo Dancing for that, because if it was not for Mo Dancing, then I think I would never have known you or any of the other girls that, we still talk with. Obviously, we talk about family and how, like, your sister was the one supporting you for, at the beginning of your dance journey, kind of reflecting back to it or even thinking about it now, like, did your family support you or, like, does your family support you Hmong dancing still? And if so, like, how do they support you?
mm, as much as I liked Hmong dancing, I didn't really start to pursue it until I was a lot older. So by that time, I was able to support myself financially, and I basically did like dance like all by myself. I didn't have like a dance mom helping me with outfits. I feel like my family, they didn't really show their support physically by being at like my performances or competitions, but I always knew that like they were proud of me for going out of my way to do what I love. And I think now that I am not competitive dancing anymore and now I am coaching, I do see that my mom, she's more into like, oh, like where are you guys going next for competition? Like, do you guys plan to go here? Which like when I used to dance, she never asked me those questions.
Mhm.
Yeah, so even now she's like, oh my god, like you guys should do this for your next dances and stuff. So yeah, my mom's very she's she's very into it now. I guess
Mhm.
now that she sees like my hard work being paid off with like how I'm coaching a team myself, I think she kind of sees that okay, you know, when I was dancing, I was doing it for real. I wasn't just doing it for like moshi mopalai, you know.
Yeah, for real.
Because when I used to dance, she took it as oh mopalai, so you know. But
Mhm.
I guess now that like I am coaching my own team, I think she sees that like okay, like I am using it for something good and not just mopalai.
Mhm. Yeah, I feel you on that part, girl, because, like, honestly, Toei, like, when we were dancing, in the in Bunsiki and Jiaoxing, we were, like, majority college students, right? So
Mhm.
so my parents thought that kumu like gishi hasam because obviously they
Mhm.
want us to focus on our education, like get a real job. But now that we're a lot older, we have a job. Some of us are still in school, but then we're a lot older, so people on. So that's probably
Yeah.
why your mom now is more supportive. Which I'm glad she came around. I'm glad she came around and she's more supportive now, giving you ideas. That's really helpful because honestly, the elders, they do know or have a lot more ideas than, we do. So,
Mhm.
that's good. Um, for me personally, my mom has been there from day one. I mean, even with, like, when we dance Bokinsiki and Jiaoxing, like, I feel like she was even
Yeah.
there supporting you ladies too, So
Mhm.
my mom has always been there for me, which I truly appreciate and I'm so grateful for. My dad, on the other hand, he really just didn't really care. He didn't really care. I mean, there was a moment when I was still dancing with the girls when he mentioned that, like, "Oh, I was just wasting my time," and that, like, it's not good to invest in that kinda thing because I am a girl and a girl is supposed to, stay home and, like, not go out to yapatu in front of people, right?
Yeah. Yeah. They kind of. I think they kind of take it as like, oh, moomika, like
Yeah, I
shaking that
mean,
ass
really,
all
really
day.
backwards. Yeah, like, which is like, okay, yeah, I get where they're coming from because 'cause they're pretty traditional, they have that old mindset still, but hey, like, I think the more we competed and the more competitions we won, that's when they realized, like, okay, like, like, they're doing it for real.
Mhm.
So I think that's kind of where things kind of pivot for me
Mhm.
personally in terms of their perspective with me dancing. So that's kind of my journey in terms of like family support and all that. So, obviously, we talked about how dancing can affect your mental well being, right? So, just
Mhm.
a question for you. How does dancing affect you and like your mental health and your well being?
I feel like growing up, I was, believe it or not, I felt like I was actually very shy growing up. I didn't have many friends because my family, we moved a lot. So I was constantly like making new friends everywhere I go. And like, I've always kind of felt like I didn't really have close friends. So a part of me was, I kind of kept to myself a lot. But when I do meet people that I click with, like, yeah, I do hang out with them and I do open up to them. But most of the time, I felt like I didn't really have friends just because we moved so much. Hmong dancing, when I started Hmong dancing, that's when I started making new friends, and that's when I started to build like sisterhood and like building bonds with like my other dance sisters, and I think dance helped me to like engage in open new relationships that helped me keep like a social life. Otherwise, I probably would just be by myself in my room.
Mhm, mhm. Felt, girl. Yeah. So you mentioned that, you moved a lot as a child or your family moved a lot. Did that ever like affect you as a child too? Like back then, let's say if you were to move to, let's say like Minnesota, for example, right? And you join a group there and then all of a sudden you move to like California. You dance a group there. Like, did that affect you, like your mental well-being at all?
When I was in California, I do recall that I did want to dance. One of my friends, she was in a dance team, and I remember her team. They were looking for dancers, and at that point in my life, I did not have any like dance experience at all. So I remember I went to try out for them, and I think because they were kind of desperate for dancers, I think I just made a team because of that. I was in the team for about like 2 months, and then my family decided to move back to Wisconsin. So I never really got to perform much or like got to experience how being a Hmong dancer was like. But then as soon as I came back to Wisconsin, I met my Moua, who we also danced with, and I started dancing with her right away. So I guess it was kind of like it kind of worked out well for me.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah, so I guess it was, like, good luck, I guess.
Yeah.
You had to, like, like, you made friends right away, which is good,
Mhm.
and it seems like, just from, like, you talking about dance, it was more of, like, a positive impact on you than, like, a negative one, right?
Mhm.
Okay, would you mind, like, kind of elaborating on that? Like, let's say you come home from, like, a very tiring day at work, like, how does dancing help you kind of relieve that stress?
Through past experiences, like when I used to come home, because now that I don't work because I'm in school now, but when I used to come home from work from a very tiring day and I had to work on dance afterwards, I feel like when it comes to dance, I'm not tired. Like I'm able to wake up early for dance compared to wake up early for work. But I feel like it's because dance, it just feels rewarding to me. It feels rewarding. So I think I don't know. To me, I don't know. I just really enjoy it.
Mhm. I think it's also because 你要考一个小小 right? So, like
Yeah, so like no the she has to stop was. I think
Mhm.
like when it comes to it, then like you don't go kuchino sha.
Yeah. That's good because, like, my experience, I think there was a point where I did feel that way.
Mm,
I think it's because I mean, especially in Jiaoxing, right? Like, there was a time when I distanced myself from, the girls, or I started seeing dance more as, like, a job than, like, a hobby,
mm,
and I think that also played a role well, I think the fact that, like, I lost my aunt during that year, that played a role with, like, the way how I view things, and that really took a toll on me because I remember how much I enjoy dancing and how much dancing really helped me, instead of hurting me. So I did feel like during my time in Jiaosheng, I became very stressed because although, like, the girls that there were, I guess, trying to help me, they were trying their best to help me, trying their best to reach out and making sure I'm okay. Me personally, I knew in my heart that I wasn't being 100% me. Like, this is not who I am. I'm not in a good place. So mentally, I was drained, but I made a commitment, right? And I think that's the person I am. Once I am committed to something, I stay till to the very end. That's the person I am. So I stayed with Zhao Xing, and right after our last competition, I think Fresno was like the competition that I enjoyed the most because I knew that was the last one during that time. I knew
mm.
that was the last one. Also, because girl, the audience there was like a whole bunch of people, and that was like the biggest audience that we've
It
ever
felt like a concert, right?
yeah, that we've ever performed in front of. So, y'all, like Fresno New Year, the audience, they're like, "根本做个熊." You look at in the audience, and they all look like little ants. Like,
It's like endless.
yeah, and I think that's what I also loved was that, and I'm also glad that as EHS we ended our dance journey there because it was like a grand ending, I guess you can say. But like right after competing there, a part of me felt relieved, but I was also very sad because it's like I know how much I enjoy dancing. It's been a part of my life for so long, and if I had a choice, I would definitely continue again, but in a better mental state. Cause then I was an ugly person. I'm not gonna lie. I was an ugly ass person. But I was like,
I
"Oh, yeah, I know."
I definitely agree. Like not just you, but like I do have my moments where like I hate dance as well. Like I have my moments where I'm like, I don't want to look at it, I don't want to think about it, I don't want anything to do with it. But then I also have moments where I'm like, oh my god, I love dance so much. Like I could die dancing for the rest of my life. I could die dancing. But I
Yeah,
do have my moments where I hate it.
mhm, and I think that's so normal, as a dancer
Mhm.
because because, like, if you surround your life around dancing, right, and you make dance the center of everything, it's gonna become draining. But if you make yourself the center of your own life and dance being a part of your life, then it's something that's want, that you want to do it because it's more of a hobby than, like, a duty that you have to fulfill. So, I think it's really important to kind of have that balance as well and to know that there are boundaries that, like, yes, you love dancing, however, it's not 100% you. It's just a part of you. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So that's yeah, so I think now that I'm in a better state of mind, I think when it comes to Hmong dancing, I do want to start again. Cú lộc tia, cú lộc lộc.
Girl, there are many opportunities out there.
I know, but girl, my knees don't work the same.
Same here. Like whenever like I do feel myself getting old. My knees don't work the same. So if I'm gonna teach a move once, I'm gonna teach it once, and they're gonna have to remember it because I'm not teaching it again.
How about I just put AI to do it when I want? Yeah, for real, girl, my knees be cracking, so I was like, "I don't think I can handle it anymore." Yeah, and then on top of that, you work a full-time job. Well, I work a full-time job now too, so it's
Mhm.
like, ugh, yeah, you know. So we talked a little bit, or like we kind of touched base on like when we feel stressed, we turn to dance as a way to cope, right? So
Mhm.
can you just like elaborate or like pinpoint a specific time when that happened to you, or like when you use dance as a way to cope and help you, get away from the stress?
It was after Jacques Shane. I think it was during the time when I was dancing with Luna in 2019. Because like Jacques Shane ended, I really, really wanted to dance still. So I was grateful to have been given the opportunity to continue dancing with Luna. They're an amazing team, and I really loved it when I was dancing with them. But I think just during that year, my mental health was not it. And I struggled to like find my identity that year. I don't know what happened to me, but yeah, my mental health was just not it. I didn't really know how to like cope with like my mental health, and I didn't know like what to do to improve myself as a person. I felt like that year I kind of made like a lot of like toxic choices. Yeah, 2019 was just a really, really bad year, but because I remember like I could go days without sleeping and eating. That was how bad it was for me. Because I don't know, I always felt like anxious and worried for some reason that year. But then like no matter like how many days I went without like sleeping, I always had like energy for dance for some reason. I found myself like dancing late through the night because I just felt like it helped me clear my mind. And I remember one night, I think it was like 3 in the morning, I was still up dancing. And my mom, she was going to use the restroom. And I was dancing and like she got scared because she thought that someone like broke into the house. But it was just my fat ass dancing.
No, 'cause okay, I still remember the freaking days when you would just send random ass dance videos of yourself at like 2, 3 in the morning. I'm like, "Dude, what the fuck is bitch still up doing what?"
Yeah, like I don't know, like for some reason, I don't know what I was even going through that year, but I was just struggling that year with my mental health, and I just remember staying up really late dancing, and I just remember that night. My mom was like, "Babe, like pause your whole it was trying, but it was just my fat ass dancing in the living room."
Oh my god, that's so funny. Girl, you cause your parents to be stressed too. Oh my god, that's so funny. Okay, so it was that time. Okay, yeah.
Oh.
Okay, that's so funny, but yeah, thank you for sharing that story. That's very funny, and also I feel like that's something I can relate to too, because there be days like back then when I was so active, girl, I'm not I can't do it no more. But then like back then after like school or after class, I'll just go and like cover, their dance groups, like dances and stuff, and I'll be able to do that for like 3, 4 hours straight and like not get tired at all. I mean, I can't do that anymore. I can't do that anymore, I'm freaking out of shape or whatever, and I'm old as hell now, so, like, back then, I used to be able to just dance 3, 4, 5 hours straight, she's so shy at all, and this one
Mhm.
time, like, I got yelled at by my mom too, I'm not gonna lie, because she was going to sleep for work, and this is when she was working 2 jobs too, so she was working, a second shift and a first and a second shift. So then she got back home that she was gonna go sleep, and I was putting the music on super loud, and then she got mad at me, and she's like, "You don't have me freaking dancing anymore. Why the fuck you keep dancing?" Blah, blah, blah. So I got sad because I was like, "Damn, that's right." Because I feel like that was the year. I think it was after ZHS. I think no, it was during 2020. So during COVID
Oh
time.
yeah.
During COVID time. But you also I wanted to just like dance, and I did consider, like, joining other groups and stuff, but when I think about it, it's like, I left off at a good note with ZHS, like, I don't think I wanna join any other group. So props to you for joining other groups, like Lunabellas. they're a really great and amazing group, so I'm glad you got to experience that, and then after that, you also danced with
I danced with Ling Hong for a brief moment.
oh, I thought you danced with another
That was
too.
no, it was just after Xiaoxing, it was just Lunabellas, and then after COVID, I danced with Ling Hong for a little bit.
Oh, oh my gosh, why did
Yeah,
I thought you were dancing with another group too? Okay, so it's just those
I
2.
don't know. Maybe you saw it in your dream.
I don't know. I mean, I did know that, like, although ZHS, like, we stopped dancing competitively, we did do a couple shows. Like, we met
We
up, did
did.
a couple shows and a couple projects together and all that stuff, so
Mhm.
maybe it was that. I
Maybe.
don't know, maybe. Yeah, so, like I said, thank you for sharing that. So, obviously, being c like, we kind of talked about it where, like, our dad or our parents specifically, they have the mindset of, like, "Oh, dancing is for lives, right?
Hmm.
And all that stuff, like, it's nothing serious." Do you think there are other cultural stigmas in the Hmong community around, like, Hmong dancing?
Definitely. I think that people often think Hmong dance is something more feminine, where we only see like females are involved in. But nowadays, I'm so happy that it's being more inclusive with like both genders. And I think it's very beautiful to see like the inclusion of both in performances. I also think that with the fast changing world and all these dance styles have started to evolve and adapt like Western styles, I feel that the public, they're not used to seeing Hmong dance evolve yet. Like they still think like I think Hmong people when they think Hmong dance, they still think OG like
Mhm.
Poi, like not the end of the day, Poi go. I feel like they still think that's what Hmong dancing is. But I feel like we live in a fast changing world. Dance is always evolving. I feel like with the evolution of dance, people like everyone's always like, oh, that's like no longer Hmong dance anymore. Hmong people don't dance like that. But I don't necessarily see it that way. I think Hmong dancing is just starting to evolve and becoming more creative. And I feel like we have a long way to go. And it's something that the Hmong community is going to have to accept. Yeah,
Well,
like even dance from when we were competing, it's
oh,
so different.
yeah, yeah, we danced, like, 5, 6 years ago, and that now is considered, like, old style.
I know, like when I go back and look at us dancing, I think back then it was like, wow, we're so good. But then now, like I go back and look, and I'm like, oh, we're messy.
We're like, "Ew, like, why do we bitch baka like, we're so
Yeah,
robotic."
I was like, ooh, like we're messy. Like, but back
Mhm.
then, I don't know, we must have thought we were good. But then now that I go back and look, I'm like, okay, we were kind of messy.
Girl, that's what I'm saying, like, let's say, little girls who dance nowadays, right? Let's say, like, 7, 6 year olds, they're so lucky to have, like
They are. Oh my gosh, I wish I was born in this generation.
Me too, because, like, if you think about it, like, the way how the dance style today, it's so smooth and so, like, what is it? Like, unique, and it
Hmm.
took us, like, 10, 12 years to get here. And and it's like, "Damn,
Yep.
why couldn't that be me?"
I know.
Yeah,
I
but
do get sad. I wish I would like when I see dances nowadays. First thing that goes through my mind is, damn, I wish I was young again so I can dance with them.
Mhm. I know, same here. I know, like, a lot of people say that, "Oh, you're never like, you're it's never too late for you to dance," but honestly, like, personally, I feel like sometimes it is late for you to compete. Just in my own perspective, because it's like, yeah, dance could be a hobby, but it can't be something that you commit yourself to competing anymore
Mm.
because with
Yeah,
that knowledge older.
I think it's especially because nowadays there's like I think when we competed, we didn't have much of like JV and varsity. It
Mm,
was more just like a one division kind of thing. So we would be competing against like little teams. But nowadays there's like the division and even the age cutoff for like varsity and JV is like 13, 14. And it's like, dang, that's varsity?
mhm.
Like what?
Girl, we were like 20.
Oh, yeah, it's also like I do feel that there comes an age where maybe you have to stop. But we
Mhm.
can still do it. Like go you go girl, but
If you still wanna teach, go for it, you know?
I think teaching has no limits, but I think when it comes to competing, like me personally, I don't think I can ever compete anymore.
Mhm.
But I think teaching has no limits. But I feel like just competing age wise, yeah, I'm gonna be looking below as fuck
Oh,
compared to like all
no.
these girls.
I mean, and, like, if you're listening and you still do compete, girl, I
You good.
mean, props to you, because personally, I just can't do it, like,
hmm
I don't think my lifestyle can handle it, I don't think my
hmm
body can handle the stress anymore, because
Yeah, my
teaching
limbs don't work like that.
yeah, like, being a coach and being a dancer, there's 2 different levels of stresses, right? So,
hmm
I love being on stage, but the adrenaline there, it's so crazy, and on top of that, the stress of, like, having to perfect every movement and all that, it's
hmm
super stressful, compared to, like, a coach ko siya lesson, right? I mean, it is stressful on
Yeah.
you, that she could you have to, like, musho and, like, actually execute the dance. So,
hmm
it is stressful, but at the same time, you have to be that rock for the dancers or, like, the students. So thank you for that. I mean, you as a coach, obviously you know, so kind of talking about it, would you mind sharing us like, the differences that you see as like a dancer and a coach? Like what are the different stresses that you experienced since you've been in like both positions?
I feel like when I was a dancer, I only had to worry about learning the dance. I only had to worry about learning the dance, making sure I was doing it correctly. But as a coach, you have to make sure the dancers are doing it correctly. So you have to you being in the position of the coach, like you have to really look out for like the little things in the movements and everything. I feel like as a dancer, when I was dancing, I never really looked at that. And I was just like, okay, everyone looks the same, we're good. But then as the coach, no, like it's a different story. I feel like when you're the coach, you see a lot more than when you're the dancer.
Mhm.
Because yeah, when you're the dancer, all you see is just what's around you. But then when you're the coach, you see the whole like image. Like you see like
Yeah.
you see like the bigger image of it, like or the
Mhm.
bigger picture. So I feel like it's 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 different. I think dancers, their stress is more of just, am I doing the dance correctly? You know,
Mhm.
the coach is like, are they doing? Dancers,
Are they doing it correctly?
coaches, are they doing it correctly?
A girl, bye. I'm dead. But, like, I was just gonna say, I think it's kind of hard to measure because obviously with us dancing and I mean, I don't know with Lim Hmong and Luna Bellas, but then with us dancing and, like, Bopingsuki and Xiaoxiang, we we didn't really have a coach, like, we kind of just did everything
Yeah.
ourselves, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
It was just kind of like, okay, you watch this time, and then like we just took turns watching, you know. So it's like everyone's looking for different things. So it's
yeah,
like different.
exactly.
But then when you're the coach, like you have to look at everyone. But then when you're a
Mhm.
dancer, you just look at yourself, making sure you're doing it, like correctly. So yeah, it is different.
Being a coach and a dancer, it's a different level of stress for both of them, which you, I feel like, have experienced everything. I think you're a pretty well-rounded, like, dancer overall, with your lived experiences and all, so thank you for sharing that. And then kind of I know we talked about the evolving of Hmong dancing, right? Like, just in your perspective, how do you see the future of Hmong dancing evolving to support, like, both the cultural and the mental health in, like, the younger generations? Because obviously, like I said before, we Hmong dance, but we don't talk about the mental health, so
Mm-hmm.
what do you think in terms of, like, the future of Hmong dance evolving? Like, what do you think?
Dance group using like Hmong dancing as a way to like tell stories. So I feel like dance groups will like can incorporate like mental health into their dance routines, which I've had seen before.
Mhm.
Like for example, there's a team located here in Milwaukee in Penjaya, amazing team. I think about like 2 years ago they did like a woman empowerment group dance, and
Mhm.
I think that's like a very strong message of like for like us Hmong women, just like typical stereotypes of Hmong women, what's expected of us, be a good daughter, good housewife, and I
Mhm.
think they did a good job at like incorporating mental health into their routine. I feel like definitely we'll see a lot of dances using Hmong dance as like a way to outreach for like mental health. I can see
Mhm.
it.
Yeah, you mentioned Alexandra, yeah, their woman empowerment dance. Girl, I cried. That's
Hmm.
how empowering it is, and I'm so glad that they danced and, did a message about that. And also like Luna Bellis, they did like a message about like
Hmm.
the 1-800 line, the
Yep.
hotline. Shane Yu Ying with the LGBTQIA plus
Yep.
dance. We also did a short routine online for the was it family Hmong family strengthening line as
Hmm.
well, which I feel like it's so creative,
It
right? And
is.
mental health is something that our Hmong community don't really talk about. So I think that is a really effective or influenced way to put a message out there, and like even recently too, I think Tandria did one about anti-bullying at Madison New Year.
Hmm.
That one was so good. So I'm so glad to see these different dance groups do several performances or executing these type of choreography so well to the point where it touches, the audience's like hearts, something that they can relate to. And it's not just sometimes simply dancing is like really nice, you know,
Hmm.
but sometimes with the message behind it, I think that's a way to touch people. And I think that's the impact that personally I would like to see within our dance community is that impact, for the audience.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. Like, I think especially because like my mom is such like a verbal ethnicity, we don't have much of our history written. So like I feel like Hmong dance is a huge involvement for us to continue like cultural practices and like self-expression of like our identity for like the younger generation. So I think it's something that I think Hmong dance will just continue to grow to be like a safe
Mhm,
space for our like well-being,
mhm.
whether it's like mental health related or not.
Yeah, for real, even if it's just about the culture, right? Like CHS, we did our Samhong one, that was a culture
Hmm.
piece. Girl, even storytelling, like "Come on, eh," the Thai, was it not Thai, the "Nze Ke Chong," like, girl,
Yeah.
you guys are so creative. I was like, "Okay, look at them." So just, like, storytelling like that, I feel like it's something that people is, like, very
Mhm. It's like, yeah, it's like as we, continue to honor like our past, like we will
Mhm.
embrace the future. So,
Facts, facts, I like that. Thank you for sharing, just like your your the was it your envision of like the future of Hmong dancing. I do agree with everything you said. I think Hmong dancing is just gonna get better from here on out, and I can't wait to see, in the future. I hope to see lights in the sky, fireworks, whatever needs to be incorporated to execute that dance. So thank you for that. I do want to take a couple steps back, and then I know you mentioned earlier that like back in like 2018 or 2019, you weren't in like your best mental state. Was there ever a time when you had really like dark moments or like dark thoughts that you felt like dancing saved you from?
definitely it did save me. I had very very like dark thoughts, like unimaginable. But dance, I felt like dance did save me. Kind of like back like from what you said earlier, how like at one point you felt like dance was like a job. Yeah,
Mhm,
so I think like I think at one point when I was going through like my very very dark phase, um dance did save me because no matter how like depressed I was, how much I wanted to like die, I was like, okay, well I have a performance this weekend, so I can't die yet.
Girl, what the fuck?
That's true.
Oh, hell no.
And then like when I go and do that performance and I come back home, I feel fine. So I think like it did save me in that in that way.
Do you think it was more like the performance or, like, the girls that you were dancing with that,
I think it was more like the girls. Like I know, like okay, like I have dance. Like I'm gonna go see them. Like I'm not gonna be alone. And like even like I think just when I dance in general, when I was with like the girls, like I didn't really have those negative thoughts just until I was like alone by
Mhm,
myself.
mm.
Yeah. So like no matter how many times I was like, okay, like today's my last day. Like I'm like, oh damn, I have a performance coming up, and that's what kept me going.
Okay, girl, period. Love that.
Realistically, that's what kept me going.
Not gonna lie, that caught me off guard a little bit, but I hear you, girl. I get what you're saying. I get it, and it is true. It's like, dang. because I thought that I got other tasks I have to complete before I
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, like this is my last day. Got my letter written and everything, got already. And then like I'm like, oh wait, oh shoot, I have a competition this weekend. I can't die yet. And then like,
Mhm,
I go compete and I forget all about it. So it's like I guess that's how it saves me. Because deep like no matter how much I wanted to not live anymore, like deep down, like dance was like, no, like you still gotta go dance. But you can't die yet. So I guess that's how it saves me.
mhm. Wow. And I kind of
Dark,
hearing
but
no, it's okay. Girl, laughing is a coping mechanism too, it's fine. I laugh, I make jokes. Yeah, I get you, and, like, kinda just hearing you talk about it now, like, it makes me a little bit sad that, like, during that time, I was dancing with you, and I didn't even know that you were going through all of that, you know? So thank
Mhm.
you for sharing that with me, girl, kasi ako, 'di ba?
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
But I think that's how dance like saved me.
Mhm.
Because like yeah, I did have my moments where like I was like, okay, I'm only gonna make it till this day. But then I'm like, oh shit, I got this competition. I can't let the team down. So I was like, so I guess that's how dance did save me because
Yeah.
like deep down I knew that I couldn't let the team down. So I have to be there for the team. So I guess that's how it saved me. So I guess that's how I grew my attachment to dance because
Mhm.
I can't be letting these girls down.
Yeah.
I was gonna show up for them
Like, did you feel like it was your only way to keep going in life?
in a way because when you go and like dance or like because like we're always dance it's always at like these busy events and stuff and when you're at a busy event like that, you got no time to be thinking about your depressed thoughts. Like all you gotta think about is like, okay, what time am I dancing? When's announcements? When I get to go home, and then by the time you get home, it's like, dang, like you're just so exhausted, don't got time to do anything, you just want to sleep. Yeah, and so I feel like yeah, kind of funny, kind of dark, but I felt like that's how dance kind of like saved me, because
Mhm.
because I feel like some people are always like, oh no, if you are really depressed, like you really want to die, like nothing will hold you back. But I guess dance was like a calling for me, telling me like, like you can't die because you gotta go do this, like girl, you gotta do this first.
Yeah. Girl, if that was your calling, that's your calling, and that's on period. Like, to other people, it could
Mm,
be different, because it is
yeah.
true. Sometimes when you're in a very, very dark space and you don't care about anything or anyone, you just wanna do it, but there is always that one person or that one activity or that group of people that you care about and you still wanna show up for? So I get what
Mhm.
you're saying. Because for me, it
Yeah.
was obviously, like, my sister. I've shared this story a couple times, but when I was going through my dark thoughts, it was after dance already, but my sister was the person that I thought about during that dark moment, and I wanted to show up for her. That's why it kept me going. So I'm glad that dance was was able to play that piece in your life that you needed
Mhm.
to, you know, totoya. So
Yeah, because I can't let you guys down. So what's gonna happen? Like formations will be fucked up. Like what if like I'm in charge of this prop? Who's gonna do this prop if I die? Like that's not gonna make sense no more.
girl, I fucking can't. Oh my god, Val, why would you I find it so funny that you think about this stuff even, like, amidst, like, some dark ass fucking thoughts, like, you think about, "Dang, who's gonna take care of the props? What if they find my body and the prop's not done?" Like
Yeah, like that's like I think that's yeah, it's sad. It's really sad, but it's also like really funny. Like it saved me in a very like funny way.
it's sad, funny, but also, like, in a really, what is it, like, heartwarming way too, because
Yeah.
I don't know, like, just to think deeper, because I don't know, I'm an overthinker. So just think deeper, your sister was the one who introduced you to dance, so do you think maybe that's actually your sister who's the one helping you?
Maybe.
I know.
Yeah, like I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't just like back then. Like even during my coaching years, like I had these thoughts too. So it wasn't just like thoughts that I had back then. Like I have my moments where like I'm like, dang, I want to die. Like but then like now that I'm coaching a team, I think about like, oh my god, like if I die, these girls are not gonna get to dance no more. Like they're probably gonna you know, so you're just saying that we're not gonna get to go to dance practice anymore. Like they're not gonna like all
Mhm.
these plans and routines that we worked on, like they're just not gonna get to finish. It's like when I think of that, like it makes me really sad. So it's like I have to be there for them. Like I have to show up for them.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm. I hear you. Well, I want
Mm-hmm.
you to know as a friend to friend, I want you to know that, like, you mean a lot to me as a friend, so
So
I don't ever wanna see you in that space, and if you're ever in that space, I'm always available for you. Like, even if you don't want me to say nothing and you just need me to listen to you, I'm more than willing to help you with that. So, thank you for sharing that part of yourself or your journey with me. And I feel like I've learned something about you, girl. Like, something about you, like we live in the same town, but like still the opposite sides of the town. So like we barely
yeah, like we barely see each other. Yeah.
don't. So we like rarely talk. So thank you for sharing that piece of yourself with me. So kind of just wanted to wrap this all up together. Overall, I'm hearing that dance is basically your life, or like dance is the reason why you're still here, which I'm so grateful for. So I do want to kind of wrap it up in like a quote that I found online. So this quote is by Nicholas Roeg, which is a director that focuses on dancing and mental well-being. It quotes, "Dancing is a way of life. It is about healing, feeling, and connecting to our deepest selves and to each other. When we dance, we free our minds from the shackles of the darkness and our spirits soar." So that is the quote that I found that I feel like is a good way to tie all of this together. And I feel like this is a good way to follow up with what you just shared too, because it is true when you dance, you feel like you can just spread your wings and fly, right? Like you feel really free. So I'm so happy that you're still here and thank you for sharing that again. So just kind of your thoughts on the quote that I just talked about. What are like your thoughts on that?
I do agree, like what you said, like when you dance, it is like spreading your wings and flying, and that's how you feel free.
Because it's true, and I think you wouldn't know until you're up there dancing,
Hmm.
performing. Like sometimes when you're on stage, you just know that you belong there, right? So
Hmm.
I get it. So it's been really fun, obviously having you here on my podcast talking about this, talking about dance. I feel like every time we talk about life now, it's rarely about dance, and especially with the mental health aspect of it too. Thank you for coming on here to share your lived experiences. I hope that a lot of people can resonate with it. And personally, I have related to a lot of things you shared. So to conclude, would you mind sharing your last remarks, kind of like what you have to talk about, like how our session went today?
I'm actually really happy that you invited me onto your podcast to
Yeah.
talk about Hmong dance and how and like mental health and stuff. I think it's amazing that you decided to start this podcast. I think it's a great way for like it's a good outreach for like the Hmong community, especially because Hmong people are kind of closed minded. Not gonna lie.
Uh-huh.
And we're not really open about like mental health. So it's great to see that you're doing this. This is something that's really amazing, and just want to share to like all your followers, like that like you are a close friend of mine, and I'm happy to see you having like people follow you and support you on your Untamed Mind journey. And I can't wait to see you have in store for us for the future, and you know put yourself out there more with your podcast, because I think this is like a stepping stone for like some people especially.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you for your sweet words. And, like, I definitely see your support too, so thank you for that. So to all of the listeners out there, if you've been with us this whole time, thank you so much for tuning in. I know Valentine and I, we have a pretty unique relationship, but I think you and I, we can relate with a lot of, like, dark humor.
Yeah.
know? So, yeah, again, thank you so much for being on my podcast, Valentine. I really appreciate you coming on here and being brave enough to share your lived experiences and hoping, this podcast can impact just one person, and I think that's what I strive to do with my podcast is just to spread the awareness about mental health, just kind of letting people know that anything can relate to mental health, and it's a topic that
Mhm.
we can all talk about. Let's normalize that. It's no shame in talking about, your feelings, your thoughts, your emotions. We're all human beings. We have that. It's normal. Please follow me on Untamed Minds. I do have Facebook, Spotify, and YouTube, and I can't wait to meet you all again next time. Other than that, thank you all so much for tuning in, and I hope you guys have a great day. All right, bye.